as well, and that can be seen in other episodes of the series. And I finish my presentation here. Thanks again for coming and for your patience.
I have the impression we have time like for 2 questions maybe, and any other comments, please make sure to email them to the speakers so they can benefit from some feedback if you have it. Anybody has a question for any of our speakers? Okay.
I have a question for Josh. I was wondering, I thought your project was really interesting, and I've heard about it a few times now, so I'm really wondering what you see as the most important applicable implication of the project. How do you see it, the results?
I think the individualized results indicate that study abroad needs to be considered on an individual basis. Everyone's going to have different reasons for being abroad, different ideas of what they're going to do and get out of it, and goals, a lot of which may not be realistic if they don't have some guidance. So I think that individualized guidance is probably the most important implication.
So are you saying that by not generalizing your data, you're showing the importance of not generalizing this kind of data?
Okay.
Cool.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Danny. You have put this in connection with the transition. Can we push that forward? Are you going to push that forward? Because, as you know, it's a period of upheaval, of terrorism, of political assassinations, of uncertainty. And there is these 2 opinions on the transition. It was well done, or it was really something that we still have to deal with today. Is this a discourse that fits any of those big narratives about the transition? Is there more connection with the transition?
When I started the project, I tried to look at the environmental history. And environmental history, this in Spain, they consider that the Francoism, the environmental policies were very aggressive. And that can be connected, with more general political issues or biopolitics, for example. And now that I more, advancing the project, I see connections, for example, with the end of the Francoism and the end of agriculture as a main sector in the economy. And for example, in the environmental movement, there was a radical left one, and there was a conservative one. Okay, and Felix Rodriguez de la Fuente was very well connected with everyone, from the king, and he has a lot of power and a lot of connections, very, very high rank. Ministers, Suarez. Then I think there is a transition in the sense that what he proposes as what is nature, okay, leave aside all the social implications, for example, of social ecology, and is politically safe and politically and socially safe in the sense that it's apart from politics. And I think the success was like that, but at the same time, I see problems in that. I think the political ecologists of that time, some of them were very, very good, but they have any presence in the media. So the version of what nature is about, at least a very powerful nation, has been Rodriguez de la Fuentes, and I think it fits in the transition narrative of, for example, the problems with the land possessions, for example. He's endorsing like big game hunting, for example. Big game hunting was associated to the possession of huge land estates that are still today, and maybe now it's not a pressing issue, but in the 70s it was. So I think probably I think I need to read more about the transition, that I'm not very familiar with the bibliography. But I see now I see connections. I think it can be an interesting perspective to the main narratives of the transition, what's happening with the environment and with Felipe de la Fuente and qualities in animals, and even something I didn't talk in this talk, but the representation of animals is another part of my study as the way of seeing the society through via social biology, in gender issues, for example. The animals represent like a model of what human beings are because they are biological species, and that's very ideal and very conservative. Thank you.
Does anyone have a question for Kate?
It's okay.
I do. All your connections were mostly based on plot, the history, the storylines. Do you have any other points of connection that can reveal this lineage of relations?
Yeah, one topic that I didn't enter into at all is that the way that the legend is presented in the Historia de España really gives the impression, and I believe this is true, that two independent legends came together to form what we have as the legend. And so a lot of it does tie to plot, but there are hypotheses about figures on whom the legend, what I term in my dissertation the Pyrenean legend, would have been based, such as I referenced Bernardo of Ribagorza, and the ties to his supposed deeds, which are also legendary. So it still relates to the plot that is narrated, but also there's a connection beyond just the Historia de España.
Okay, so let's just give them a...
Doing good. We saw Jim Saturday. Yeah. You know, did your parents go to your events when you were in high school?
No, they were dairy farmers. So they
My dad had 2 jobs
they all
to make ends meet. I wasn't in. My name is David Cuter, and I welcome you to this meeting of the United Nations Association, Dane County. I'm new at this job. I was part of the coup that occurred at the December meeting that got me and the other members of the nomination committee installed in as the officers of the organization. So we'll see how it goes. I'd like to especially welcome the Return Peace Corps Volunteer Organization, and Phyllis Noble is in the back with lots of materials about the Peace Corps. This organization in Madison is one of the most active in the country of Return Peace Corps volunteers, and it helps that Madison has probably one of the greatest densities in the country of Return Peace Corps people also. After the program, go back and visit Phyllis and look at some of those materials and take some things home with you. Make arrangements to buy a calendar. We can't sell things here at the library, so we can't actually sell them, but you can pick up a bookmark that will help you learn how to order a calendar. And I'd also like to welcome any guests that are not members of the UNA, but just found out about this meeting and came. There's another table at the back with some materials that relate to our local organization of the United Nations Association of Dane County. And if you'd like to become a member, we'd be happy to welcome you at that. You can get materials in the back, or you can talk to any, you can talk to me, or you can talk to my wife Hilda sitting there in purple, and we'll be happy to do that. And we are going to circulate a sign-up board. And on that sign-up board, it says that there's a column for please contact. I put that in so you could contact me if you have, if you'd like to become more active in the organization, either that you're a member now or not a member, and we just haven't tapped into you yet. I'd be happy to talk to you about some of the activities we do between meetings. As announcements, There are a couple things that relate to the United Nations itself. Every year in February, there's something called Membership Day at the UN, where any members of the